right, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Young, and I have Sean Sturby, our Technical Services Manager, and this is another edition of the Optrics Insider. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
And our three topics today are the CIA and Swiss company Crypto AG were found to be working together. 1 billion in Bitcoin has been seized. And finally, the Fortinet VPN was exploited and a hacker released over 49,000 passwords to Fortinet firewalls. So that's not good. So good to know about that. So Sean, let's talk about the CIA and the Swiss company Crypto AG working together.
Yeah, so the CIA has actually referred to it as the intelligence coup of the century. So the Crypto AG, a Swiss company, they were banking on that the Swiss are historically neutral, and they were selling cryptography solutions, so VPNs and encryption technology to companies and governments all around the world. Well, the CIA came along and bought Crypto AG effectively, or bought the controlling interest in it, so that since they were in control of the company, they could say, let's make this encryption not as strong as the client is thinking it is. Let's make sure that there is a way for the CIA to decrypt whatever is being encrypted. And so this report came out in the Switzerland parliament that this has been happening for many, many years, and the Swiss government possibly was very well aware of it, that they knew that this Crypto AG and the CIA were in bed and working together and banking on the reputation of Swiss companies, that they were secure and would keep things private and confidential.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how widespread is this news? I think you were mentioning that it wasn't didn't just make the news sites. It actually was discussed in the government or something like that.
Yeah, it was a report actually presented to the Swiss government parliament that they reviewed it, and not a good time to be somebody working for Crypto AG.
No, I guess not. Right. Thank you. All right, our second topic I'd like to discuss is, so 1 billion in Bitcoin was seized. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so it was actually 70,000 Bitcoins, or almost 70,000 Bitcoins. Silk Road was a black market for drugs and guns and all of that. And back in 2013, these almost 70,000 Bitcoins were valued only about $17 million at the time. At that time, Ross Ulbricht, I believe that's how his name is pronounced, he was the founder of Silk Road. He got arrested. But slightly before he got arrested, these Bitcoins were stolen. He lost control over them. Some hacker hacked the hacker. So at this point, here it is, 2013, 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice has found who that hacker that stole these Bitcoins were, and have convinced them that it would be in their best interest to hand them over to the U.S. Department of Justice.
So they got an offer they couldn't refuse, I take it.
Sounds like it. And now those $17 million worth of Bitcoins are worth just shy of $1 billion. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if those Bitcoins are now auctioned off into the market, or what's going to happen to the valuation. But yeah, should have bought Bitcoin when it was $1 a piece.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. Yikes. Okay. So Sean, let's talk about Fortinet VPN that was exploited, and the hacker who just then released 49,000 passwords for the firewalls.
Yeah, so this was about a year and a half ago that it was revealed that the SSL VPN capability of the Fortinet firewalls was possibly exploitable, and Fortinet came out very quickly with a patch for it and told every network administrator that had a Fortinet, make sure you upgrade, make sure you update. Well, a year and a half later, there are still 49,000 firewalls that are reachable on the internet that are still running the exploitable version of that firmware, that software on these firewalls. And what a hacker has done recently is he's gone out and looked at Fortinet firewalls, found these 49,000, figured out that the exploit still works, and has published the list of, here's the firewall, here's the password to get into it. And when you look at the list of domain names and that are associated with all of these firewalls, some of them are really large companies or governments.
Wow.
Make sure
Whoops.
you patch things.
Yes, no kidding.
Especially when they're security related.
Yeah. And so this exploit you said had been in existence for a year?
A year and a half about.
Year and a half. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you are an IT admin listening to this and use Fortinet firewalls, please double check that your firewall has been updated to the latest firmware version.
And it's not just Fortinet for firewalls, it's every player in the industry will have some exploit against their firewalls at some point in time. So, just every once in a while, every 3 months, every 6 months, make it a policy to double check that your firmware is up to date.
And often with these firmware updates come new features or a better way of managing different things. So within your firewall. So very good point. Thank you, Sean. So the three topics that we talked about today were, one, the CIA bought Swiss Crypto AG, and Swiss Crypto AG was, of course, working with a lot of different high-level organizations providing cryptography. So, but I guess the jig is up there. 1 billion in Bitcoin was seized a long time ago from Silk Road, and now the Department of Justice has those Bitcoins, and from the sounds of it. And finally, a hacker exploited used the Fortinet VPN exploit for those firewalls that weren't updated with their firmware, and released 49,000 passwords to Fortinet firewalls. So make sure you upgrade the firmware on your firewalls. Anything else you want to add today, Sean?
No, but I did hear somebody sign off the other day that they said, may all your tests be negative as you stay positive during these trying times.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute.
Yeah. Yes, this good point. Right on. Well, thank you very much, Sean. And as always, if you like what we were talking about today, please share it amongst your peers. We'd love that. And I also wanted to add that we're now this is a podcast too. So you can find us on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify. And we will be also adding iTunes and some others down the road as well. So subscribe there. Hopefully, whether you watch us or listen to us on whichever venue, we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.